is Weather Watch.
And you're tuned to the Weather Channel. I'm Dan Pope along with Kam Carman. Glad you could join us. We've had major snows in the western United States. My hometown of Salt Lake City had snow today, Kam, but up in the mountains, the skiers' delight today, Alta had 25 inches, but 4 inches of water content.
That's right, and that's good for the reservoirs. We need to fill those up, so it's good news all around, unless you don't like the snow, and traveling in it
Traveling's not good.
Very hairy at times. Let's take a look at a satellite photo, and we'll show you what's been happening over the last 12 hours or so. And as we put that on into motion, we'll take a look at the cloud cover floor out toward the west. And what happened was this major storm system pulled on through, and it has dropped very significant amounts of snowfall. Northern Sierra Nevada got pounded even over toward Kirkwood in California. They had 12 inches of new snow coming into today, and about 3 to 4 feet of snow have fallen since then. Winter storm warnings remain in effect over the northern mountains of Utah, and that's the case over the mountainous regions of Colorado. Winter storm warnings, snow advisories just about everywhere else, all the way back into the Great Lakes region where we see that storm system heading as it moves off toward the east. We're expecting very heavy snows even around Minneapolis, St. Paul. A winter storm warning remains in effect, and starting tomorrow, winter storm watches for the upper peninsula of Michigan. As Dan was telling you, Salt Lake City, seeing the blustery conditions, you've had better days in that neck of the woods. Gusty winds today, low visibility. Traveling was just a nightmare into this city, and traveling should get a little bit better, we think, as time progresses, but Salt Lake had just about every ingredient for a miserable day. The driving rain slowed folks down, and the temperature dropped all day after starting out at around 50 degrees. This morning's rain even brought thunder and lightning in some instances, so Mother Nature really doing a number on Salt Lake City. A cold air funnel cloud was spotted early in the day as that winter storm pushed on through. Now, we expect that rain to turn to snow this evening with 2 to 4 inches possible by morning, and you know what that means. In the higher elevations, you will expect a whole lot more. If you're heading out to do any skiing, that's certainly good weather there. Stay tuned to the Weather Channel. We've got your local conditions coming up and then a whole lot more, so we'll be right back.
And we'll go ahead and take a look at Monday morning's forecast, as indeed we have ourselves a veritable snowstorm working its way down from Canada. That cold air combining with warm, moist air rolling across portions of the Plain States. That'll bring in some heavy thunderstorm activity and then eventually the snow. As we look at late Monday afternoon, we'll indicate the storm moves across the Great Lakes, bringing snow with it. Once again, Minneapolis, St. Paul, you could see 6 inches or more. So have that snow shovel handy and be prepared. That's the old Scout motto now, isn't it? Let's look at some temperatures as we pinpointed for your Monday. Afternoon highs are going to be mostly in the teens and the 20s across the upper Midwest. And here's your 80s. Can you believe this down in Texas? Some 70s even in Atlanta, Georgia, 40s and 50s up towards the northeast. Once again, that cold Canadian blast is coming south with some highs in the teens and 20s with the 30s around the Great Basin. How much precipitation will fall? Let's check it out. Rainfall-wise, will indicate that there may be some spots upwards of 1 inch or 2. That is rain and snow mixed as we check out some of those precipitation totals. Up to 1 inch of measurable from parts of the Great Lakes back down through Minneapolis, St. Paul. But a lot of that, let me remind you, is going to be in the form of snow. Let's go ahead and look at how much snow there will be. And there it is from Wyoming over towards Minnesota and into the northern sections of Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan. We are definitely looking at some heavy amounts of snow. No thunderstorms, though, and that's good news. We'll be back.
Want an adjustable bed but don't think you can afford one? Then you haven't priced Craftmatic adjustable beds lately. Craftmatic Model 2 beds cost hundreds less than these quality flat beds. And this Craftmatic Model 3 is available at 50% of Craftmatic 2's low cost. 50%. Craftmatic Model 3 and 2 beds adjust to all these healthful positions and offer optional heat and massage, yet cost less than these quality flat beds. Get our free catalog by mail, including information on Craftmatic 3s at savings of 50% of Craftmatic 2's low cost.
Hello, I'd like to receive your free catalog and 50% information by mail.
Certainly, sir.
It's easy, so call for this free catalog right away.
Call 1-800-BED-4116. That's 1-800-BED-4116. Toll free. Call 1-800-BED-4116.
Picture yourself living in beautiful Florida and sailing over a crystal blue ocean. Think of the climate. Florida's got fun in the sun all year round. Feel that sea breeze and bask in the warm glow of a tropical sunset. We've got the lifestyle. It's tranquil and beautiful. It's a wonderful place to live, work, and play. It's no wonder Florida is the nation's fastest growing state. And don't forget the people. Everyone in Florida is friendly. Our neighbors are as warm as the sunshine. If you're a home buyer, come celebrate life. Just pick up a phone and call 1-800-223-8898. We'll send you a free information kit telling you all about the lifestyle you've been dreaming of. Remember, that's 1-800-223-8898. The ultimate Florida lifestyle can be yours today. Sunny Florida. What else can compare?
Well, as you're headed out and about across the country, good news as far as the thunderstorms go, not really a problem, but we do see a major winter storm pulling on into the high plains states, and this means a whole lot of change expected into North and South Dakota. We're talking about snow. Some of the precipitation will be in the form of rain, possibly around Chicago. They might get a good dose of the wet stuff. St. Louis, where they need the rain, the fire danger has been on the high side lately. But snow, it's going to be a big blast of Old Man Winter. From Flagstaff, Arizona, where you have some snow showers right now, back into western Montana, some snow has been piling up. Jackson, Wyoming, about 14 inches of snow there, more on the way. Rapid City, South Dakota, the rain has changed over to snow, and that will continue all the way into Monday. Great Lakes region, you might find a wintry mix into Monday night. The winter storm watches have been posted for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. They may be upgraded to winter storm warnings as the next 24 hours roll by. In the morning hours, foggy conditions across the Gulf of Mexico into Florida. Keep your low beams on for best visibility, and into the middle Atlantic states. Fog a problem also. And back to Southern California, Central California. Southern California, you'll see the problem with the Santa Ana winds kicking up and gusty winds as that storm system plows on into the country's midsection. Chicago, if you're driving in that vicinity, keep a firm grip on the wheel. Also around Detroit, Cleveland, and Indianapolis, 30-mile-per-hour winds. Some of them may be even higher. The winds also may extend on down throughout the Tennessee Valley, up to 30 miles per hour. Driving may be treacherous also with the snow and blowing snow around. And when the snow turns into ice, it's a real problem there. Better keep all the provisions handy if you're doing any traveling into the Midwestern part of the nation.
wonderful. I am stunned.
Hey, Ma, you got the real ocean spray.
Your family knows the difference between Ocean Spray Cranberry Juice Cocktail and the others.
Wow, she got the real ocean spray. That boy, Mom.
Ocean Spray knows how to give you all the goodness of the cranberry and the most refreshing taste. We've been doing it longer than anybody else.
You gotta meet this guy.
Honey, you got the real ocean spray.
Yeah, but she got cheap chips.
Next time you bring home Cranberry Juice Cocktail, make it the real Ocean Spray.
Out of 3 home fires start in the kitchen.
Mommy, fire!
Get the kitchen fire extinguisher from First Alert. It's specially designed for the kitchen. First Alert, because your family comes first.
A cheese riddle. Mom, what do you get when you slice and melt American cheese over ordinary hot dogs? A happy lunch bunch. That's right, Mom. Cheese makes it taste better. So don't forget the cheese.
The 1990 calendars from the Weather Channel are now available. The Weather Guide calendar has page after page of interesting and unusual photographs, and there are phenomenal weather events described in detail for each day of the year. The 1990 Weather Guide is a fascinating collection of weather information for the whole family, with interesting articles on important environmental issues. The 1990 Weather Folklore calendar is beautifully illustrated. Each page has a painting reflecting the weather of that month, with a sampling of weather folklore traced from as far back as the Egyptian culture of 3500 BC. Both calendars have plenty of room on each day to write important notes. The 1990 Weather Guide calendar and the 1990 Weather Folklore calendar make great gifts. Here's how to order. To order by credit card, call toll-free or send your name and address along with $8.95 per calendar plus $3 shipping and handling per order to Weather Calendars, Post Office Box 2030, Cameron Park, California 95682. Be sure to specify the calendar or calendars of your choice. Order your calendars now.
Stay tuned for the Days In 5-Day Business Planner, keeping track of storm systems, hazardous weather, and poor road conditions that may affect your business travel. The Days In 5-Day Business Planner coming up in just a few minutes right here on the Weather Channel.
Here on the Weather Channel, we've been watching some incredible snows across parts of the Rockies. We're going to zoom in from this satellite picture to a western view and go ahead and put it into motion. You can see that in California, that massive storm is pulling out this evening. But look around Salt Lake City, Utah. Look at the clouds as they ripped through the area. Places like Alta Ski Resort picked up 25 inches of snow today, and that snow, believe it or not, had 4 inches of water equivalent. That means the mountains in the Wasatch Front were bombarded by heavy precipitation. This is what it looked like in Salt Lake City today. Not only did they have rain, but they had winds gusting to 48 miles per hour at the Salt Lake City International Airport. Then the snow came in with thunder and a funnel cloud. Then the snow. Talked to my father this evening and my mom, and they say an inch of snow in Bountiful, Utah. So the bench areas and the valleys really didn't pick up a lot of snow. It was way up in the mountains where the temperatures were cold, above 7,000 feet. 18 to 24 inches fell, and more is on the way tonight. We'll go ahead and show you the satellite loop from the Denver perspective here and watch as the clouds roll out of the Colorado Rockies. The brunt of this storm, folks, appears to be heading towards South Dakota and Minnesota. As you can see, the clouds are heaviest right here, the darker shades indicating where there is intensification. It appears that is occurring right now over northeast Wyoming to the Black Hills of South Dakota and eventually on eastward towards the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Once again, you can see the brunt of the storm is heading in a general line east-northeast. Let's pull you out and we'll look at that big wide perspective on the satellite, and we'll show you the motion here as well. And you can see that the storm has very little effect on Texas or parts of Arkansas. It's just a beautiful clear evening, very warm out there. And again, over the northeast, things are clearing out after the storm hit the other day. Thank goodness. Boy, we really got lambasted with all of the clouds and the cold and the snow 2 or 3 days ago. Well, you know what? Temperatures are not too bad across the country this evening. Let's go back and show you the temperatures right now. It is 21 degrees. That's a little bit cool, but not bad at Sault Ste. Marie. We're talking 43 in Denver and 32 around Reno, Nevada, 37 in Medford, 60 degrees in El Paso. The wind chills, -5 right now in Bismarck, 21, so there's no wind in Sault Ste. Marie. 35 is what it feels like in Louisville, and 30 degrees in Denver. We'll show you the current map, and we'll indicate across the country that cold front lies right here, the V indicative of where the strengthening of the low pressure will be. Wherever the warm front and the cold front come together, you expect to see some severe weather. Sometimes that'll happen. Here comes the Arctic blast southward. The two are going to combine and move eastward for a major storm. Precipitation-wise, though, we'll go into a local radar, Radar B, and we'll show you Huron, South Dakota. This is all of the light rain and snow which is falling from Aberdeen over towards the Huron area, which is HON, a little bit of ground clutter here. Pierre, South Dakota, all of this mostly rain, but it is beginning to turn over to snow and sleet, and it's going to be a very snowy night before we're all done and through. One more radar, we'll go down to Florida, and we'll indicate from Palm Beach. This is all ground clutter here, but some thunder showers still lingering about south of Vero Beach, north of Palm Beach, and a few isolated showers near Miami. We'll take a break right now, and when we return, we'll show you the maps in sequence for tomorrow.
Last year, my family and I were caught in weather like this. Our car slid off the road, but luckily, none of us were hurt. But this year, I've planned ahead with Sure Grip cable chains. When I need them, Sure Grip cable chains go on quickly, and they come off neatly with just a tug on the strap. The bottom line is safety. My family is prepared for any winter emergency with Sure Grip cable chains.
Available at quality automotive retailers.
Let's take a look at the maps and show you the forecast. It looks to be very, very wintry over the Monday morning time period. Low pressure pulling out of the Rockies and heading into the Great Lakes region and the Dakotas, spreading all kinds of weather, a whole potpourri out there. Mixed rain with snow, possibly sleet, heavy rains at times, very heavy snow at times. Rapid City, South Dakota. A couple hours ago they had rain. Now it's changed over to snow, and eventually the rain into eastern South Dakota will do the same thing. Some of that may pile up, and we're expecting it to continue into the afternoon hours as that low-pressure system pulls eastward. The cold front on the tail end of that will swing through the Tennessee Valley and Dixie, just brushing some showers here and there. No major downpours, and we'll see very gusty winds back into the high plains states, probably up to 30 miles per hour, some gusts of wind even higher. And as we go ahead and finish out the time period, it looks to be very, very sloppy. If you are doing any traveling, temperatures are going to be on the cool side up toward the Canadian border, teens, 20s, and 30s for high temperatures. So if you are out and about in your automobile, Make sure you stock up on plenty of antifreeze, keep a snow shovel handy just in case, and take all those precautions. Could be quite nasty out there, and bring along plenty of food. Down toward the south, high temperatures very mild. That's going to be short-lived, though, we think, as we go on through time and watch the effects from that cold front sweep on through and get rid of most of the warmer air. Temperatures much cooler. Lots of snowfall into the mountainous regions, especially for the Rocky states, heading all the way into the Great Lakes region. And rain, talk about that, very heavy in the darkest shades of green, northern Wyoming, but a lot of this will be in the form of melted snow. And this is good news because we need to fill up the reservoirs, but more than a foot of snow may fall, and it may take some time to melt all that white precipitation. Flagstaff, Arizona to Marquette, Michigan. Get ready for the wintry weather. Some of the snow may be on the very, very heavy side. In fact, you will need a snow shovel definitely to keep you going. We'll stay in touch with this situation when we come back.
This is a book of world records. It includes the tallest building, the biggest animal, the fastest car. But there's something they've missed. The world's fastest growing hotel chain, Days Inns. We have nearly 1,000 locations across North America with great rooms, pools, lounges, and with our great prices, you'll want to come back again and again. Who knows? Stay with us often enough and you might get in here before we do.
Call our toll-free number and see why America's waking up to us.
Call 800-325-2525 for reservations at Days locations nationwide.
Coming up on the Weather Channel, we'll take a look at that travel weather across the country. We'll tell you where the slippery roadways may be due to some heavy rains and some very heavy snowfall that may occur. If you've got travel plans on the agenda, you may want to put them off into the northern part of the nation, especially up toward the Dakotas and into the country's midsection. Throughout Nebraska, some rain is falling. It may turn on over into snow, and the mountainous regions of Colorado may get pounded with very heavy amounts of the white stuff, and we're talking about feet. So winter storm warning does remain in effect for the mountains of Colorado and the northern mountains of Utah.
Can a diet including Mazola bring cholesterol down? Here's living proof.
When I found out my cholesterol was over 200, I got nervous. So I cut back on saturated fats and cholesterol and used Mazola.
A clinical study showed that Mazola corn oil was an important part of a lower fat diet that reduced cholesterol an average of 17%.
With Mazola's help, I got my cholesterol down. I can live with that.
Mazola. Together we're beating cholesterol.
Stay tuned for this evening's weather, coming up right after your local forecast.
It is time now to take a look at the satellite pictures in motion, and Mother Nature is dealing us a blow of snow, you might say. It is a real windy and snowy one out there, as clouds and showers have pretty well made travel just about as miserable as it could be over places like the Parley Summit area on I-80 and over Wyoming between Rock Springs over to Rawlins and then down towards Cheyenne. But the worst of the weather is up around Gillette and Sheridan and over towards the Black Hills of South Dakota. It is a mess out there, and travel will be worse before it ever gets better. Snow will fall across South Dakota and eventually into Minnesota and northern Wisconsin overnight, making for a very, very bad night to be out on the highways and the byways. As you can see, the clouds are moving pretty fast, so this weather system should be out of the picture shortly. We'll take a quick look at the western satellite in motion, and look, California, Oregon are clearing out.
Welcome to Sunday's Prime Time Tonight, your 3-minute guide to cable television, coming to you every half hour during your prime time viewing hours. Now here's a look at the family entertainment. American Snapshot surveys various vocations on the Family Channel. Nickelodeon is showing Mr. Ed. Next, Mr. Ed gives Wilbur another lesson in horse sense. Don't miss it.
Oh, Wilbur, I've got a confession to make. Dan? When I made that beautiful speech just now, I knew you were standing behind me.
You big phony. The dramatic programs and specials. The Disney Channel has holiday preview. Annie gets a lawyer on the Slap Maxwell story on A&E. Now on the Discovery Channel is the series Wings. Here are the sports coming this half hour. TNN presents Inside Winston Cup Racing. CNN brings you the latest plays on Sports Tonight. Coming up on TNN, Ned Jarrett and Steve Burns co-host a fast-paced look inside Winston Cup Racing.
By the halfway mark, fierce competition had kept a clear-cut favorite from being determined. Although Brett Modine was back at the point, and a strong-running Rick Wilson was emerging.
Timely news reports and the latest weather in just 1 minute. On the Weather Channel is your local forecast. Headline News keeps you up to date. Every half hour, top broadcast journalists bring you the people, places, and stories you should know.
President Bush points to a world moving toward freedom as a major landmark of his first year in office. He says liberalization in Poland, Hungary, and East Germany are all examples of a trend that has gone too far to reverse.
Later tonight on the Weather Channel, get the weather conditions in your area on the Pacific Regional Forecast. Now here's a recap of the shows coming up in just a few moments. Prime time tonight. We'll be back in 27 minutes with more cable TV highlights. Stay tuned now to the Weather Channel for your local forecast.
When many homeowners think of caulking, they think of bathtubs and sinks. They should also be thinking of doors and windows. 12% of your home's energy loss can be attributed to leaky windows, 5% to drafty doors. For the homeowner, these figures translate into dollars. You can save energy by re-caulking those costly gaps. Although caulking materials are relatively inexpensive, there is a knack to working with them. When working outdoors, pick a day when the temperature is above 45 degrees. Remove the old caulk with a putty knife or a wire brush. Cut the cartridge nozzle at a point which will span the joint you're trying to fill, and apply consistent pressure to the trigger. And be careful that the caulk is being pushed ahead of the tip and not behind. Before you level off the caulk, push a large nail into the cartridge nozzle to keep it from becoming clogged. Remove the excess caulk and smooth the joint over with a wet finger. When dry, your newly caulked joints are ready for paint, and you are ready to start saving money.
This is Weather Watch.
It's now 31 after the hour. I'm Kam Carman alongside Dan Pope, and a major winter storm moving out into the Rocky States and the Plain States, and really feeling like winter there. But California, well, great any time of year.
They always say Southern California is wonderful. You know, it never rains in Southern California, but when it does, it pours. And today certainly wasn't the case. Los Angeles, you had some beautiful weather as temperatures today warmed up nicely. It warmed up into the low 70s. The big winter storm that was affecting the Sierra Nevada with over 30 inches of snow went by virtually unnoticed, though, as Southern Californians went about their daily activities. They had a few hit-and-miss morning showers, but for the most part, it was a typical mild autumn day. Highs downtown at the airport again were in the low 70s. Look for a repeat performance of today's weather for Monday. And guess what? Tuesday and Wednesday, the Santa Ana winds might begin to blow, and that may bring the temperatures into the 80s and low 90s. Let's look at the way things are shaping up around the rest of the country. Thunderstorm intensity is expected to be non-existent, although there may be a few isolated cases tomorrow morning. For the most part, things are not too bad at all. As we check out some rainy conditions across the country, we'll find that Chicago over towards St. Louis, there will be some rain along the Gulf Coast as well. Some isolated showers. We've even had some reports of thunderstorms in Florida. You may recall places like Key West, up to 7 inches of rain in the past 2 days, both days, record rainfall amounts. Wintry travel will be the worst And in fact, it's going to be a veritable snowstorm, nearly a blizzard in places like North Dakota and Minnesota. The storm is just now cranking up, and as it begins to move eastward, that's where the problems will be Monday during the day, and for that matter, as we look into Monday night, the Great Lakes area, northern Illinois, Chicago, a little bit of snow, but again, the heavy snow, northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota into the UP of Michigan, and then late Monday night getting into New England. All right, are there any areas that we should be concerned about fog-wise? You bet there are along the Gulf Coast, in the northeast from New York City over towards Boston, and for the Central Valley of California and the Willamette Valley of Oregon. Let's check out the wind, and we'll pinpoint some gusts to over 50 miles per hour. Yes, indeed, if you're driving a high-profile vehicle, you'll want to exercise extreme caution, especially if you're going on a north-south route, because the winds will be coming crosswise, going up, say, I-45 or I-35, I-25, any of those areas could be a big problem. Well, thanks for tuning into the Weather Channel. Coming up next, Kam Carman takes a look at current weather across the country and a satellite review.
Let's take a look at that satellite picture as promised, and into motion it goes, and we've got a whole lot to talk about. Country's midsection seeing the effects of a very major winter storm. You've been hit hard into northern mountains of Utah over into Colorado, and we think more snow is on the way as that low pressure system makes its trek on into the high plains states. Ooh, temperatures are cool tonight when you factor in the wind, even cooler. 5 degrees below zero is what it feels like in Bismarck, North Dakota. A whopping 3 degrees in Rapid City, South Dakota. So blustery wind there, blustery temperatures, and the rain has changed over to snow. Into eastern South Dakota, the rain is just waiting to turn white, and we think that will be the case. Rough traveling here. If you have plans that may take you to this part of the country, you may want to just put them off. 17 degrees the current wind chill in Duluth, Minnesota, 21 in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. For the most part, temperatures are not brutally cold into the northeast. It's nippy, so you need to bundle up. About 23 in Boston is what it feels like. Cool in Albuquerque, New Mexico, about 37, and also for Salt Lake City in the northern mountains of Utah, a winter storm warning remains in effect, and that's the case over to the mountainous regions of Colorado, where the wind chill in Denver is about 30 degrees. High temperatures not all that high today across the northern tier of the nation. Got up to 28 in Bismarck, only 22 in Minneapolis, and you may struggle to reach that tomorrow as major snow is headed your way. Possibly a foot forecast for the Twin Cities and some adjoining areas all the way up toward the upper peninsula of Michigan. Winter storm watches have already been posted for that area. Much more comfortable on down toward the south. Temperatures were warmer here, 60s and 70s throughout the course of the afternoon. 70s pulling on back into Texas, 65 for Dallas, 77 in Phoenix. Great weather out towards Southern California. What else is new there? Current map shows you not much in the way of active weather, but low pressure pulling on into the country's midsection, and fog may be a problem into sections of the southeast. We've got a couple of radars to show you, and we'll take you on a tour and find out where the weather is happening. This is ground clutter here around Huron, South Dakota, but all the way up toward Aberdeen and Pierre, they're seeing some rain. It's moving off toward the north and the east. Eventually, we think you're in for the rain to change over to the snow, so keep the snow tires handy and the snow chains. Another radar stop will take us on into Florida. This is all ground clutter also around West Palm Beach, but some bigger thunderstorms lighting up the radar south of Vero Beach and even around Daytona. Orlando, you may see a few showers. Nothing major here, but all the way down toward the Keys. Key West been pounded with more than 7 inches of rain. We'll take a look at your local conditions plus a lot more coming up, so stay with us.
Our first Christmas together, I wanted to get Frank something exciting. The next year, I wanted to get him something informative. But this year, I really found the perfect gift.
A subscription to USA Today. Terrific!
Call now to give USA Today for the most informative coverage of the events shaping the nation, along with the USA's most exciting sports section, loaded with stats and stories he won't find anywhere else, and personal finance with unbeatable advice, plus tips and tidbits on just about everything that interests him.
And I got some great gifts, too. An AT&T long-distance gift certificate, a beautiful brass tree ornament, and a handsome card to announce my gift. All free.
And I get color and excitement 5 days a week instead of once a year.
Call now to give 13 informative, exciting weeks of USA Today for just $29.25, or give a full year and save 25% and get even more free long-distance certificates. Call now, 1-800-527-5800.
Hear what earthquake experts predict for our future. It'll shock you. Watch On Shaky Ground, Saturday and Sunday, December 9th and 10th at noon, 6 and 11 p.m. Eastern on the Weather Channel.
And we'll go ahead and take a look at Monday's forecast as early morning Monday rolls around from eastern Colorado and eastern Wyoming over towards the panhandle of Nebraska and as far east and northeast as Minnesota. It is going to be a snowstorm and a half. And 3/4. It'll be an extra blanket night, too, as cold air slips on southward. We'll look into Monday afternoon, and we'll check out that storm system still. Look how closely packed the isobars are. And when they are close together like that, you can anticipate wind, and it should be in the 40 to 45 mile per hour range on gusts, and occasionally over 50 miles per hour. So it'll be a windstorm in the south and a snowstorm, and you can imagine, again, the snow and the blowing snow, which will result in Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, into the UP of Michigan, the Keweenaw Peninsula, and for that matter, into Canada. A little bit of rain in the northwest and some snow showers there, and a few lingering snows in the Rockies. We'll check out the temperatures as we head on into the Monday time frame, and as you'll see behind that cold front, there are going to be some areas of very, very cold weather. Rainfall and snowfall amounts generally in the 1/2 to 1 inch category on the rain, but most of it will be melted snow. And in that melted snow, you could find a 1/2 to 1 inch of rain, as I mentioned, but up to 6 to 12 inches. You see the darker purple shades there in northern Wyoming, around the Wind River Range and up towards the Snowy Mountains. And then again, as the storm picks up steam on Monday, about a 6 to 12 inch swath of snow from Sioux Falls, South Dakota to Minneapolis, St. Paul, up towards La Crosse, Wisconsin, and eventually into Marquette, Michigan. It is definitely going to be a snowstorm to beat snowstorms. There's your temperatures, folks. Behind the cold front, teens and 20s for highs, wind chills, 10 to 20 below zero, North Dakota and northern Minnesota. But notice that warm, beautiful air south into Georgia and Florida. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
At 15, kids don't want to be mothered anymore. You have to pick your opportunities. Citrus Hill Plus Calcium is one of those opportunities. We said if we could take 100% pure orange juice and add calcium without changing the taste, girls like Paula would drink it every day. To her, it's just delicious juice. To me, it's better nutrition. And as big as she is, she's still my baby.
Citrus Hill Plus Calcium, a more nutritious orange juice.
To help relieve head cold misery, there's full prescription strength Actifed. Of the 3 leading cold medicines once sold by prescription, only one still comes in its original maximum full prescription strength formula, only Actifed. To help relieve the stuffy, drippy misery of a head cold, remember, full prescription strength Actifed. And to help reduce the fever and sinus pain of a bad head cold, now there's new Actifed Plus.
It's 44 now, and after the hour, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be checking on the travel weather across the nation. We'll tell you where you may need the galoshes or you may need the snow boots and the snow shovel. Stay with us.
How would you like to make a fortune by assisting students and parents in finding a fortune? Hi, my name is Mark Cohen, founder of Academic Guidance Services, a company I started over 13 years ago, and which is today the 84th fastest growing privately held company in the nation. The problem. Last year, over $135 million in scholarships went unclaimed simply because students and parents didn't know it was there. The solution. In our computers, we have access to literally billions of dollars in scholarship sources. As an Academic Guidance Services licensee, you can market our services to students and parents who will seek you out for the funding we can locate for them. Our computers will do the work, and you can earn over $1,000 per week as president of your own company. We do all the work. We guarantee to locate a minimum of from 5 to 25 sources. You earn over 300% profit. For more information with absolutely no obligation, please call this toll-free number.
About across the country, you don't have to worry about thunderstorms. They will really not be a problem over the next 24 hours, but rainy travel may slicken up the roadways, and with that cold front moving through the Midwestern part of the nation, well, you may see a little bit of a delay if you're doing any driving. St. Louis all the way to Chicago, look out for some rain there. Detroit may see some rain, but snowfall will be on the heavy side. And from northern Arizona all the way into the Great Lakes region, might be a little icy on the roadways. You may need the snow tires or snow chains, and the wintry mix extends, we think, from Des Moines, Iowa, all the way up into Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Monday afternoon, that action slides eastward, and that will continue on into the overnight period, and we will see the Northeast even get in on some of the snow. Higher elevation snow is good news for the skiers, but you have to keep that in mind if you're traveling. Things could be a little rough. Foggy conditions throughout the Gulf of Mexico may give you low visibility as you're headed out and about, so keep the low beams on if you're driving off to work. Monday morning, also in the middle Atlantic states around the Chesapeake Bay, some fog, but gusty winds as that approaching system bears down on the Midwestern part of the country and into the Great Lakes. Around St. Louis, possibly up toward Des Moines, you might find gusts of wind higher than 30 miles per hour, maybe up to 50. So make sure you take precautions as you head out and about. We'll take a look at the weekend outlook and that look ahead coming up for you in just a few minutes here on the Weather Channel, so stay with us.
Welcome to the world of government auctions. Did you know that the United States government wants to sell you cars, boats, homes, and real estate at bargain prices? In some cases, they're selling things at prices so low, you'd think that they're practically giving everything away. They have cars, boats, office equipment, and homes seized from drug dealers. The government has homes and real estate they want you to buy. Do you want any of these bargains? Call now and find out what you can get right here in your area. Federal, state, and local government agencies want you to come to their auctions. And now you can find out about all of these auctions and more by getting your copy of the Action Guide to Government Auctions. You want a car, a boat, a home, office equipment? Call right now and find out what's available. One man went to a government auction and bought a $50,000 boat seized from drug dealers, and he paid only $10. Get your copy right now. Operators are standing by to take your order and to tell you what's available in your area. Call 1-800-822-2470. That's 1-800-822-2470.
The Weather Channel presents the 1990 Weather Guide Calendar. It's filled with beautiful and unusual photographs, plus phenomenal weather events described in detail for each day of the year. And there's plenty of room to make notes for every day of the month. Order your 1990 Weather Guide Calendar today. Call toll-free or send check or money order to Weather Calendars, Post Office Box 2030, Cameron Park, California, 95682. Calendars are just $8.95 each, plus $3 shipping and handling per order. Or save shipping charges and get yours now at Target stores.
And we're checking out this evening's weather as we look at some snow across the Rockies. There's been quite a bit around Salt Lake City, Utah, not in the valley, but up around Alta Ski Resort, 25 inches of the white stuff. And that all came down in about the last 24 hours, so that means about an inch per hour. The way it looked in Salt Lake City, though, you'd never believe it. It was one of those days where the winds were howling and blowing and the snow was drifting all over the place. All right, we'll show you some Salt Lake video in just a minute. Some high clouds over the southeast, and temperature-wise right now, 34 degrees for Green Bay, 28 degrees up around Duluth and Superior in the Twin Ports. And there you are, 22 degrees for the current temperature in Bismarck as the cold air from Canada is knocking on your door. 19 for Great Falls. 36 Salt Lake, 37 at Flagstaff. There's 60 degrees in Los Angeles, and San Diego is in the upper 50s. All right, we promised you video from Salt Lake. Whenever we promise here at the Weather Channel, we deliver. And it was a miserable day. My hometown is Salt Lake, born and raised there, and I know what it looks like when these storms come through with a fury. Winds gusting to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Hey, look at that. There's a windshield wiper going by in the picture. Anyway, there it is again. There it is again. All right, not a lot of snow in the valley, but again, 25 inches up around Alta Ski Resort, and that makes the skiers real happy. The weather front is pushing out of Colorado as it does, bringing gusty winds and snow, and here comes the Arctic blast. The two in tandem are going to cause some big problems. Let's take a look at some rainfall across parts of South Dakota. It's turning over to snow in Rapid City, and the Black Hills are renamed tonight, the White Hills of South Dakota, and there will be about 6 to 8 inches there. Let's go ahead and check a local radar. Radar B will indicate from Huron. A lot of this is rain, but some of it is turning over to snow up here and around Pierre and up here around Pierre. It's going to be a little bit of a snowy night all the way across South Dakota into Minnesota. There you have it, your evening weather update. Coming back in a moment, we'll be looking at some current and forecast weather across the country.
Let's check out the forecast series maps as we start you off Monday morning on a white note from Salt Lake City, Utah, possibly over toward Denver, Colorado, and Lyman into the high plains states. We're looking for gusty winds and a whole lot of snow to fall here. Minneapolis, St. Paul, one of our favorite areas, unfortunately, if you don't like the snow, for very heavy amounts over the next 24 hours. 6 to 12 inches possible there. The brunt of the storm system will pull on off toward the east, and that will continue in the afternoon hours. Behind the storm, though, kind of a 1-2 punch here. First, you have to deal with the snow. Then you have to deal with Arctic blasts of weather coming on through. Very cold temperatures on the heels of the storm system. Tightly packed isobars show you the very windy weather in the forecast for North Dakota all the way back on down throughout Missouri. Cold front swings on through the southeast, and that shows you where most of the rain will be with this system, but really won't add up to all that much. Some of the liquid precipitation may be heavier, and the snowfall definitely heavy from the Wasatch of Utah all the way into the Great Lakes region. Around the northern mountains of Utah and the mountainous regions of Colorado, winter storm warnings remain in effect, and a winter storm watch has already been posted for the upper peninsula of Michigan, sliding on into Monday. And it's going to be a cool start to the beginning of the work week. Hard to get back to work after you've had a shortened work week, but temperatures near zero, teens in the 20s for lows. Pretty mild still down toward the south, but we'll continue to watch that disappear as we see cooler weather slip on into the picture. We've got to look at your local forecast coming up, so stay with us.
In winter, I wouldn't think of going anywhere without buckling our seatbelts or without taking cable chains, ones I know I can put on myself. And because I use radial tires, I insist on the original radial chain. They go on easily and they hold securely. Some things aren't worth the risk. I always use my seatbelt, and I always carry the original radial chain.
Available at quality automotive retailers.
Rubbermaid Serve and Savor food containers have the seal that never forgets to keep the bounce in your broccoli, the life in your lettuce, the pizzazz in your pretzels, the crunch in your carrots, the spin in your sprouts, the crisp in your crackers, and you can microwave reheat in them too. Serve and Savers keep the zing in almost everything. Don't you wish everything was made like Rubbermaid?
Stay tuned for the Pacific Regional Forecast following your local forecast.
And now it is time for the Michelin Drivers Report. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. As we look at that travel for your Monday morning, it is going to be a bad scene. I mean, we are definitely talking about the possibility of 6 to 8 inches in places like Minneapolis, St. Paul, northern Wisconsin, and once again back into South Dakota. So if you're traveling I-94 or I-35, any of those two routes are going to be an absolute slip and slide. In Minneapolis, make sure you plan extra time in the morning, as you will need it. The roads will become rather difficult to travel on, if not almost impossible. Traveling through your Monday all the way back into Utah and up into Montana and across South and North Dakota, problem. Here's some rain to contend with, where you see green on the map, some gusty winds, a vivid area, a widespread area of 50-mile-per-hour winds in gusts at times, and some local areas of dense fog where you see the yellow.
Welcome to Sunday's Primetime Tonight, your inside look at cable TV, coming to you every half hour during your primetime viewing hours. Movies are coming your way in just a few minutes. HBO presents the movie Last Rites. Raucous golf course adventures come your way with Caddyshack on Cinemax. Continuing on Showtime is Dominic and Eugene. Next on HBO, Tom Berenger stars as a New York City priest in Last Rites.
I murdered my husband. Give me a penance, Father.
Another way out of here? They know too much.
You know, talk to the feds.
He was married to the daughter of Carlos Barchi, the mafia godfather. You scare me.
You scare me, too.
Here are the sports coming this half hour. Catch Swamp Buggy races on American Sports Cavalcade on TNN. Get the highlights of the week's games on NFL Primetime on ESPN. The dramatic programs and comedy specials. The Disney Channel presents A Conversation with Bob Hope. Discovery Sunday examines American pastimes on the Discovery Channel. Nickelodeon brings you the gang at Green Acres. A&D presents the documentary The Fatal Attraction of Adolf Hitler. Next on the Disney Channel is the exclusive world television premiere of A Conversation with Bob Hope.
No, honey, I've kissed a lot of girls in movies. I kissed all of them. You know, Lana Turner and Anne Margaret, Raquel Welch, Trigger.
Timely news reports and the latest weather in just 1 minute. CNN World Report brings you uncensored news from around the world. Lifetime has cardiology update for physicians. On the Weather Channel is your local forecast. For an in-depth look at the day's most important stories, watch Headline News. Later tonight on the Weather Channel, get the weather conditions of interest to boaters and beachgoers on the Boat and Beach Report. Now, here's a recap of the shows coming up in just a few moments. Primetime tonight. We'll be back in 27 minutes with more cable TV highlights. Stay tuned now to the Weather Channel for your local forecast.
Well, we'll take a look at this evening's weather. First of all, the satellite view. Lots of clouds into Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota. That rain is changing over to snow now as those temperatures drop down. Around Pierce, South Dakota, Aberdeen is still rain, but Rapid City has been snowing now for about 2 hours. So eventually it will be turning over. Also some scattered rain showers in the southeast. We've got clouds to go along with that. Here's your temperatures now. 70, I wish. 21 degrees up there on Sault Ste. Marie. Well, it is still 71 down in New Orleans, Louisiana, and very foggy across the Gulf Coast. We have a stationary front sitting there. That's kind of contributing to the air mass. It's very stagnant, not moving, not a lot of airflow down here. Therefore, we got a lot of moisture in the air, and it's very, very foggy. Temperature also, we got 49 degrees out here into parts of New Mexico, 57 degrees now in Los Angeles. Speaking of the Southern California area, we have some video out of there, out of LA today, and it was pretty nice. Some pretty nice conditions out there. We'll be back with more weather.